Hi, and welcome to the video series where we did a restoration and modification of a 1995 Volvo 850 Turbo. The people that own this vehicle has owned it since new, and they had a failing transmission, and instead of taking the car to the salvage yard, they decided to convert it to manual and do a full mechanical restoration on it. So thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoy the series, and let's get started. Kicking off today, we are back at it. I think I'm gonna do the inside before I finish up the outside. Give me a little bit more room to put my cables in and stuff like that before I hang this transmission. So let me tear apart the inside, which will include parking brakes. So I'm not sure if I get this transmission hung or not. Let's get cracking. Got some traction going on. We got the cables in, the shifter in, this panel back on, steering knuckle hooked back up, and the pedal has that little clip on it. We got the brake switch adjusted, cruise switch on. We're good to go. All we got to do now is put the carpet back, and we're done with this side. And we're moving on to the parking brakes. Looking for a jack. I can't remember what I was using for a jack, so while I process that in my head, I'm gonna check this battery that was sitting on the charger for 24 hours. When I hooked it up, it said 13.4. Now it's dropped to 12.8. It's dropping quick. All right, now, cold cranking amps, 760. See if it gives us some good numbers this time. Yesterday it was 8% over 100%. That's unacceptable. 9% over 100%. There ain't no way I would trust this battery to go anywhere. It's got 228 cold cranking amps instead of 760 cold cranking amps. Let me test his other battery. Here's his other battery with 650 cold cranking amps, dated the 7th month of 2018. This thing's probably bad too. That's old for a battery. 11.77 volts. Oops. $650. Power too low to continue. Continue anyway. We'll put this on the charger for a couple hours and see how it fares out. 0. Folks, we're gonna replace this end-link. This thing looks destroyed. And I was gifted this thing from Gilbert Diaz up here in the Chicago area. He met me up at the shop, and man, they gifted me with this, so I'm gonna go ahead and use it to replace this end-link. So I jacked the car up. I removed the wheel primarily because it's a little in the way, and I got to do the parking brake system anyway. And then I put the jack stand under the pinch wheel under the car. So put it under there. Next, I'm gonna pull that big bolt out there, and then I'm gonna pull this bolt off here, and then I'm gonna pull these 3 bolts off here so this thing could sag down and this bracket can be out of the way. Normally the parking brake cables are attached to it at that hole right there, but I'm replacing those, so I already removed that. 18 millimeter, I think these are 17s. Removed this bolt, then I turned it back on until the nut was about even with the threads. I hit it with a sledgehammer a couple times to get it to come up on this side, and I turned it down a little bit more. Couple threads, hit it up some more, trying to get it to pop loose, and it finally popped loose. Then you can remove the bolt all the way and reach up here and pull this out. So that's one of those bolts that is kind of pressed into the upper thing so that it doesn't turn. Then I pulled this bolt out, it came right out. Now I'm gonna pull these 317s and let this all sag down a little bit. I got everything removed. You can see rust has gotten its best out of some of this stuff, including that fuel filter bracket. Looked like somebody's replaced that fuel filter once before and got that thing twisted. That needs to be replaced again. But the bad part about it is this thing is stuck to the car. It would have fell down if it wasn't. So I'm gonna hit it a couple times with this 3-pound sledge. If it doesn't come down, I'm gonna pry it. After about 4 or 5 hits, I'm not gonna wear out my ears doing that. Put some ear protection on. I gotta clip those lines back in there. Somebody's been in there messing with that. Brake lines and ABS wires and stuff are unclipped. But if that doesn't come down with a couple of hits, I'm gonna put a pry bar in there. If it don't pry down, I'm gonna put some heat on it. It's a tough job sometime in the rust belt. And here's a little glimpse of what happens when you have a brake caliper that a piston sees. So you got a good brake pad and a bad brake pad. We're gonna replace those here in a little bit. So I've been melting some of the rubber with my torch, and it seems like it's at a stuck point where there's a ball, and there may be a couple layers of metal and rubber in there that I don't know how that thing's put together, but the post is rusted on there. And so far, I can't get it off. I've been heating this thing up, and as you can see right here, this is all the fuel stuff. You gotta try not to catch none of that on fire. And you can see the rubber burned out there. We do have a fire extinguisher handy, and I am using my protective glasses. And this is the rubber that's being burnt away. This is the metal sleeve that's stuck against the post. Now, one time I had this situation like this. Wasn't on this big link here, but it was on the subframe deal where that subframe thing was. I started slicing the post off until I got to a point, well, the bolt was actually broke off in there too, where I could get a hold of the bolt and unscrew the bolt. Because the bolt was rusted. A bolt that was supposed to be like a 1/2 inch was rusted down to 1/4 of an inch, and it snapped off when I went to pull it. Well, fortunate for me, this bolt came out, but the post is rusted on there. Now, I had this happen to a front subframe, and I had to get the subframe off. Then I put a pipe wrench on there, heated it up, and turned the sleeve of the mount off of the post. Saved the post in that situation. Trying to save the post here. What I'm about to do now is put my Sawzall on here and slice through this first layer of metal on this post. I dare not touch it because it's probably still 200 degrees. Cut through that, pry it open a little bit, see if that will let that drop down, and then eat the rubber off of it, and then hopefully the pipe wrench on it to twist the pipe wrench to get that post off. It's been PB blastered, or we're using liquid wrench and heat, a lot of heat, and we're still where we are right now. So I'm gonna keep working at it because I'm at the point of no return. And actually, once I get a part, I'm at the point of no return. It's not gonna beat me. It's just a matter of how long the fight's gonna last, how many rounds. So let's stay at it. I've been beating at that with a cold chisel, but it's just like the rust has got it welded on. So let me try to get this link to fall down where I can work at the post. We have heated and beat it all we could. It's Sawzall time. So let me get my Sawzall and see what angle I can hit this thing at. Try to get this where I can get it off. Well, my Sawzall was very limited on space being on the ground. So I took my oscillating tool, I call Wani, and cut through the first layer and then through the second layer. Then I cut through the first layer of steel up there. Now I pried this open. Now I'm gonna try to pry this down again with a pry bar. If that doesn't work, I'm gonna heat it up and then try to pry it down. And if that doesn't work, I'm gonna cut through that second layer of metal and try again. Pried it for a couple minutes, finally got it to break through on that first layer of rubber. Being careful not to damage any fuel lines or anything up there. Alright, it's loose. Let me hold it down and get that next layer off, and then work on getting that post off. So I got this sleeve off of it, and I'm left with this ball on the post. This ball is part of the mount. So I'm gonna have to pry this down, put something in there to pry this down out of the way. Hopefully the tools still have enough to get this off, or I'm gonna be in trouble. I'm gonna have to melt this thing to pull it out. Then I'm gonna put a pipe wrench on there and try to twist this to get it to come off with some PP blaster and some heat, and leave the post there. The goal is to have the post there so when you put the new mount up there, it has something to use as a guide. And I'm not sure how far the threads is in this thing, but the threads are all the way up inside the car. I don't think I've damaged them. No, they seem to be good. So the threads are that far up into the car. So let me go ahead and find something to pry and put in here, and then get my pipe wrench, put some heat on there, some PB blaster, and try to twist this off with the pipe wrench. So here we are. I got something wedged in there, not as low as I wanted, so I might get something else, wedge it in here so I can put some heat on this, some more PB blaster on it, and use my pipe wrench to put on there and try to twist it off of there. So hopefully that'll work without doing any damage to the car. I don't think I want to cut into this with my scintillating saw, but I might have to. We'll see. Got to get this post off of the post that's naturally behind there. Here we are. We're going to rename my channel to Rust Belt Wrenching. I got that set in there. I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, spray it, pipe wrench it, try to move it, heat it, move it again. It's not the best angle, but it's better than no angle. I'm about to put this pipe wrench on there. I sprayed up there a little bit with some PB blaster. Let's see if this thing will turn. Oh, it's turning. Oh, yeah. I don't know how we're going to get it down, but it is turning. Alright, so we got it turning. Let's get easier. I'm trying to push down your turn. Alright, so I'm going to try to beat it down. Cold chisel or something. See if we can get it to move down a little. Well, actually, can't find my cold chisel, but I'm going to tap it down with this hammer and this thing here. Where's my sledgehammer, folks? Here it is. I'm going to keep working it like that, turn a little bit, working it, see if I can get it to come down until I can pry something up here and turn it and pry. Well, I can get this in there right now and try that. So let me try that, turn and pry. Do. Prying a little bit and turn it. Gotta find another pry point. Alright, you get the point. Let me keep turning and prying. See if I can get it off. There it is, folks. Posts look almost brand new. I finally was able, I mean, it wouldn't twist off and pry down while I twisted. So I took my big pry bar, put it on the edge of that piece that was on there, leaned it up like that, and hammered down on it. And after about 4 hammers, it finally popped off. So we got the mount off of the car. Now for the second half is to get the mount out, then we'll be half done. That's officially the first quarter done. Now to get the second quarter done, hopefully that tool will be able to pry this out of here with this chunk missing. So we're going to go for the second quarter, and then third quarter will be pressing that new one in, and then the fourth quarter will be attaching it back to the car. That thing's going to have a lot of grease on it when I attach it back to the car. I promise you that. Well, this looks like the official Volvo tool. It came out of a Volvo tool box. Got a Volvo tool part number on it. And it is not quite lining up to fall in those holes. So I don't know what's going on here. I'm going to try again. I'm going to roll this down, try to get it in tighter and see if I can get that in these holes. But I'm not in these holes. But I'm still got to try to get this out of here. So let me see what happens. Looks like I'm pressed up as high as it can, and where that thing will start pulling that out. So let me start cranking it. It's hitting right there. I can't get nothing through there, piece of paper or nothing, but it's not in far enough this way to drop this in these holes. So let's see if it works. If not, I'm gonna heat this up till this plastic starts melting and then pull it out that way. I'm cranking it, and it is coming out slowly but surely. I'll see how long it takes for this thing to come out. But nothing's happening fast. Let me keep working at it. Couldn't get the bushing to start coming out, probably because it wasn't locked in properly. Just not sitting right in there. So I heated the arm up until it started melting the rubber, as you can see. Then I put the tool on there while the stuff was hot and got it to pry it out. I'm at the end, still hadn't fallen out, so hopefully I'll take the tool off of it and it'll just pull the rest of the way out. Then I could work on getting that plastic out of there, rubber out of there, and be done with this thing. Coming out. Be halftime, baby. Halftime. Can you imagine? Time. We got it out, folks. Let me tell you how long it took. And it looks like, other than that little dent in it right here, I might try to beat out, it's ready for the new one. Maybe lubricate it. And the time is 2 hours and 45 minutes. Can't believe it. And we got a melted rollover valve. Still think I need to replace this fuel filter. Let me get one to replace that while I'm under here. Find something to treat this rust. If you made it this far, I trust that you found some information that was either useful or entertaining, so go ahead and hit the like button. And if you would like notification of future videos that I post, please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support. You can follow me on other social media apps by looking for @RobertDIY. Some form of that should bring up the other channels that I have on places like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and so forth. If for some reason you need some more personal help, go to my website at robertdiy.com and use the phone number that I have posted there to send me a text message, or you can email me. If you have questions or comments, please make a comment below. And if you'd like to make some kind of financial contribution to what I got going on here, go to my channel and hit the more link at the end of the introduction statement, and it'll show you different ways that you can support me financially. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day.